There are only two bosses in Minecraft, the Wither and the Ender Dragon. So today, I wanted to imagine what a new boss for Minecraft would look like. Since the Pale Garden biome was added very recently in the game, and a lot of people complained it was lacking features, I'm going to talk about a concept I have for a Pale Garden structure and a Pale Garden boss inside. I will explain what the boss looks like, how to make it spawn in your world, how it would fight, and what it would drop upon defeat. First, let's talk about the structure. The structure is called the Pale House. It spawns in the middle of Pale Garden biomes, but it's pretty rare to find. To find one without relying on randomness, you can explore a mansion, a woodland mansion, and find a map inside of one of the chests leading to the Pale House. From the outside, it looks like a small house made of pale oak wood, but once you're inside, you'll find stairs leading in the depths of the earth. After a while, you will reach a small room with 4 stairs leading down in all directions. They eventually all lead back to the same hallway at the end, where you can find a corridor leading to a big chamber. Inside of the chamber, there are 4 pillars holding everything together, as well as statues of crickings around the room. In front of the entrance, there is another statue looking very similar to a cricking, but with extra features like extra arms and eyes all around its body. This one statue represents what the Pale King is supposed to look like. And the Pale King, I'm not talking the Pale King from Hollow Knight, I'm talking about the name of this potential new boss for Minecraft. In the middle of the chamber, there are 4 pedestals, each being made of a new block, pale stone, an unbreakable white block that cannot be moved by pistons or destroyed by any means, just like bedrock. Among those 4 blocks, one of them already has another block on top of itself, a cricking heart. If you put a cricking heart on top of every pedestal, this will activate the boss fight, and the boss will spawn in the middle of the room. Now let's talk about the boss and his moves during the boss fight. The boss is taller than a cricking, 3 blocks tall, and he holds a golden longsword in one of his right arms. As soon as he spawns, he will start running after you to attack you. He runs as fast as a cricking, and if you look at him, he can still move. However, if you stop looking at him, he will be unable to move or attack you for 5 seconds. After that timer has passed, he'll still not be able to move if you don't look at him, but he'll be able to attack you by casting spells. The goal of this mechanic is to give players an opportunity to heal or eat before going back to the fight, while also not making the ability too broken by freezing the boss forever. Outside of that, the boss is made of wood, so it takes more damage from axes and fire damage. The boss has 4 different attacks, and 2 of them are spells that he can cast whenever he is frozen for more than 5 seconds. The first spell is called Totem Summoning. When casting this spell, the boss will summon activated cricking hearts, which means crickings will spawn. At the beginning of the fight, it will only be 1 cricking heart, so only 1 cricking, but it can spawn up to 3 cricking hearts the longer the boss fight goes on. The second spell he can cast is called Eruption. So when casting this spell, the boss will basically start charging up his golden longsword before slamming the blade into the ground, causing the tip of the sword to erupt from the ground beneath the targeted player's feet. This move deals a lot of damage. You can dodge it just by running around. Basically, the goal of this spell is to counter players that will start towering up or hiding behind blocks. And if you tower or if you hide behind blocks, he will start spamming this move to make you stop. Basically, it's to prevent cheesing. It's not hard to dodge outside of that. Those are the 2 spells he will cast if you stop looking at him for more than 5 seconds. Lore-wise, the boss cannot move when you're not looking because he is the opposite of the cricking. He is the one that created crickings, and in order to create this new form of life, he had to sacrifice a part of himself. And that part is the ability to move when no one is looking. So cricking can move only when you're not looking, but the Pale King will freeze if you're not looking and will move if you're looking at him. Now, the Pale King is so strong that he is able to break the curse if you freeze him for more than 5 seconds, as I said, which basically makes him worthy of the title of boss. Now, outside of the 2 spells he can cast, he also has 2 other attacks. The first one is a regular melee attack. The boss will use his main weapon, the golden longsword, and he will swing it at you. Since it's a long sword, it gives him additional range compared to most mobs in Minecraft, and so the Pale King will be able to attack you from 5 blocks away, which is pretty huge. And since he's also pretty fast, players might have a hard time dealing with the boss if their protection and armor aren't strong enough. To counterbalance this, you have the ability to just look away and to freeze the boss for 5 seconds, meaning you can eat and regenerate in the middle of the fight, or you can do some cool moves like you look away to freeze him and you slowly start walking backwards toward the boss so you can start hitting him when you turn back and watch him. Its 4th attack is called Sword Slam, so here from time to time the boss will jump in the air and will slam his sword into the ground when landing, and this will cause a shockwave that will go all around the arena that deals damage to everything in its path. So yeah, the shockwave goes in all directions and it stays at the same Y level as the impact. So you can just dodge it by jumping above it, or by doing a quick towering when you see the boss jumping. When it does the move, the jump is pretty slow to give players enough time to react, and it stays at the same spot when he lands, meaning that if you're right next to him, you have enough time to run away. Now, those are all the attacks the boss has in phase 1, because of course he has a second phase. Once the boss's health bar is halfway down, he will cast a one-time spell that gives every player in the room blindness for 20 seconds. He also gains the lifesteal ability for those 20 seconds, meaning every time he hits one player, he will regenerate 1 heart, which isn't that much, because I didn't want the effect to be too punishing. Those 2 effects combined together are meant to put pressure on players for like 20 seconds, and your main objective is basically to survive. After holding on for 20 seconds, the fight goes back to normal, except the boss has another new attack in his second phase, and it's basically its ultimate ability. So its ultimate move is called Earthquake. Basically the boss will put his longsword's blade into the ground, then he will start charging and channeling energy in it for like 3-4 seconds, before starting to unleash devastating shockwaves in the arena. It can send up to 10 of those shockwaves, and each can either be an horizontal shockwave, located at the same Y level as the player's feet, so you can tower or jump above it to dodge it, but he is also able to send vertical shockwave, directly launched at one player, and to dodge this one you just have to basically run very fast, so speed potion might be useful here. The quick succession of shockwaves basically forces players to stay focused on the fight instead of just, towering up and waiting for the attack to end. In total, the boss has 200 hearts, which might seem like a lot at first, but for a melee boss it's really not that much. The Wither and the Ender Dragon have less health than this, but they are flying mobs. Once the boss is dead, his body basically turns into dust, and he will drop his golden longsword as a reward. The weapon has similar properties as a sword, a regular sword, but with 2 changes. First, it has a bigger range than a sword, it has a slightly longer cooldown between each attacks. Outside of that, you can also put the same enchantments on the longsword as a regular sword, and it deals the same amount of damage as a diamond sword. That's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you around. Bye!